which is guiding everything that we have been doing. And the roadmap is like that. We indicate that we'll do this activity within this period, and then we appoint a date. If for one reason or the other you adjust a date, you are not in error. You are implementing the program. You can say that an activity that we scheduled for 2 weeks has been given an additional 5 days, or an activity that has been scheduled to commence on this day is now shifted. I think the issue is to inform stakeholders, to inform them in time, but it is also part of response to issues that are in the electoral environment. If, for example, you need to extend a period for update of the National Voters Register, and you say we're providing 5 additional days to the exercise, that is a change in the roadmap. That is responding to, you know, a stakeholder concern, or you know. So if you talked, and my colleague talked about responding, that's part of it. If you need to adjust to address an issue, you do so. So when we issue a roadmap, it is a guide on what we are going to do within a certain period. And the roadmap is still on course. But the most important thing are the constitutional dates. You are within the constitutional timelines. And I think if we look at what has happened, the roadmap has no polling stations. These are critical activities. The voters register is updated based on the demarcated electoral areas and the reorganized polling stations. A voter has to be placed at a polling station. So the recruitment of staff that we've recruited over those that time, the Commission has been in charge of all those processes, leading to production of a register that we have now, 21.6 million registered voters that we have issued out, and it's a public document, and the register has been used for nomination of candidates. And right now we have candidates who are following a program that we have issued.
Well, there are quite a number of stains that have emerged since, right from the Bukedea, I would call it a fiasco, where you had to eject one of the aspirants from the race under mysterious circumstances, to do with the presidential aspirants who raised the red flag and said that at the last minute they were ejected from the race under circumstances that remain unexplained.
We issued guidelines on how nominations would be done for various elective positions. And we got aspirants at various levels, local government, presidential, and parliamentary. The local government candidates were nominated, those who satisfied the requirement within the time which we issued. And we also addressed issues that relate to nomination of parliamentary candidates. Parliamentary candidates, local government candidates, and presidential candidates all had to meet, aspirants had to meet certain requirements. Those who satisfied the requirements were nominated successfully. Of course, there are those who came in as aspirants. Some had issues. They did not get nominated. Some have raised formal complaints. Some complaints are before courts of law. For example, you mentioned a case in Bukedea. I think that's a matter that is before courts of law. There are presidential aspirants who have been, who have petitioned the commission. Yesterday, we actually had a meeting, hearing with 2 of them, former aspirants, who still think they have a case to place before the commission, which is their right. But those who satisfy the requirements within the period that is stipulated by law were successfully nominated. Countrywide, if we look at the nomination exercise, we would say that it went successful, because for all the elective positions, and we have 45,500 elective positions to be filled in this election, from president to the local councillor, 45,505 elective positions. 45,505 elective positions, from president to the last local councillor at LC3, who goes to the sub-county. We successfully nominated 83,000. 597 candidates. 83,593 candidates who are now campaigning. So out of that nomination exercise, there are issues that emerged, which have now become petitions. The commission has received petitions, which it's been hearing and determining. So for those that are before courts of law, of course, I can't go into that. But yeah, there were some issues that emerged as a result of, you know,
there a possibility that the Electoral Commission has been arm-twisted? For instance,
I was finishing the other point. But yeah, the people who are not satisfied with the nomination exercise have lodged formal petitions, and they have grounds. So perhaps those could be now looked at as individual issues that of concern. Is there, why were you not nominated? Why was your bid not successful? Is it a problem, or is it on the part of the Electoral Commission that failed you? Was it your academic documents? Was it signatures? So there are many grounds that have been given. But the basic principle that I wanted to say is that the Commission gave opportunity to aspirants to present themselves for nomination. And this is why we have that figure. Yeah.
Some candidates have been ejected out of the race, and the Electoral Commission comes out to say there were valid grounds. Why is it such a big issue today?
So, Simon, let me put these issues, and I hope Paul and his team can take them seriously. For me, as a silent observer who follows the elections, and say, because I always have a lot of sympathies for the Electoral Commission, because I think this is an institution that is operating in an environment that is structurally distorted, trying to do work in a very complex environment. So there are about 6 issues that the Electoral Commission would address to even create some semblance of confidence that they're actually in charge of the process. The first one is the 2 million or 2.7 million votes of Yoweri Museveni that were stolen in 2021 elections. Because it is unusual for a head of state to go in public and say, my votes were stolen, and he even has the number. And the Electoral Commission has nothing to say. With precision. And an Electoral Commission has nothing to say. And you cannot respond. First of all, the government that this candidate now leads cannot respond. And then the Electoral Commission has no explanation of where did this serve. So if you are to create confidence in me as a voter, as a citizen, I need to see the Electoral Commission in charge. So it would have a very clear as register. The Electoral Commission has been very, almost non-committal or ambivalent on what exactly happens. Who are these people? How do people get removed from a register? That, for me, again points because these are embarrassing situations. When you are an institution of state, there is authority, there is a power that you hold, that you are able to use that authority and power to create clarity, create certainty. Number 3 is the attacks that we've been seeing on Chagulanyi's campaign. The police, comes in and says there are crimes being committed, but then the way they handle them, it basically degrades the credibility of the process. So the attack in Chiruhura, where these stick-wielding goons are attacking people, that ambush in Bwizbwera, that these are guys who committed traffic offenses, and then you go as the police, the army.
What did you expect of the Electoral Commission? Yeah. When police has come out with a statement to say that these people have charges to answer.
Yeah, but you see, were they summoned and they never appeared? Because you see, you as police, you don't, you can't act with the criminal mindset to fight crime. So the police must respect the electoral process. So in other words, if you are going to do an action, well, it may even be a legitimate action, but it is disrupting a very important national process.
Maybe Paul needs to come out on this.
No,
how concerned
I wanted to finish these issues because there are a couple of them. So the fourth one is the army intrusion. The army had taken a backseat, and that has helped a bit because the army has been the biggest disruptor in this electoral process. Because I've said here, Simon, time and again, that in my view, it is the army that runs the elections in as much as